Welcome once again at this start of the program. And yo, students, what's up? Let's get diving into this interesting program. I love challenges, man. The project is asking us to perform debugging. Debugging is a skill. What is debugging? Debugging is a process of finding and fixing errors in software that prevents it from running correctly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, okay, so here we're going to do the debugging program. And so the debugging here, I just made these are I made a directory that's for testing, and I've named it check. So I've just cd into check. So let me cd inside, let me ls. I already created a few files inside it, a file by the names of debug. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this so that we can all be at the same pace. I already have some files inside, rm debug. Okay, so it's already removed, so when we ls, there is nothing yet. Okay, software engineers, why not start this journey again together? Okay, now in your project you're supposed to create a file, right? One, you're supposed to create a readme file inside this. Take this check me as an example of, okay, actually why use check me? Okay, so let's create the exact folder that we're told to create. I will assume what I will do is I will remove this. Let's remove this rmdir. No, to be able to remove this, let's cd into this. So I can now say rmdir check. So we can remove this. So when we ls, we just have other stuff and we don't have rmdir here. Perfect. So let's clear this up. Now we are supposed to create a directory that is mkdir Mackenzie directory, Mackenzie of 0x03. Yeah, I'm funny a bit. I do like doing jokes. So by the names of debugging, so debugging, so this is the directory you asked to create. So we are creating this. Now if we cd inside this directory, we got some errors here. Okay, I'm faster than a computer, so sorry about that. Okay, again. Okay, dash debugging. Perfect. So we're inside the debugging directory, right? Kaboom. Okay, now we are supposed to create a readme file. So I'm going to echo a readme file inside it. So the information I want to have inside is, the best information you can put is put the project name. Usually it's better to put the project name, which is 0x03 dot space c dash debugging. So close it, and then this is your readme.md file. Enter. So when we cut into readme.md file, we have that one there. Boom, we're good to go. Now the next one is for project 0. Okay, I will say exercise 0. We're supposed to debug this program. you're given a program that is in the previous exercises that was to determine if a number is a positive or a negative, right? Okay, so before we do that, the first thing we need to do here is to create a main.h file, right? So what am I going to do? I'm going to say I will just use vi or vim, any of the two. I'll use vi and create a main.h file. So inside here, we're going to define headers, a header, which is kind of like a local variable. I know. Yeah, which is going to give you ability to have local functions being called inside the actual file that's going to have the code to run. That's weird. Okay. The first thing here is to create an insert command. Then we go into writing our first word commands. So now we need to define ifend. So with the main underscore h, then so I define function underscore h, main underscore h. Okay, so we can end this. This is an if statement, so we end the if. We end the if statement. So maybe what we can do, add here, like according to the exercise, you're supposed to add what it is about. Like here defined in the exercise, it clearly tells you that you need to create this file, and then with a comment for main underscore h. Okay, so now inside here we're going to provide our function names. The functions that we're going to create will be defined inside here. For example, for exercise 1, we are supposed to define what the function is. So it's one thing I almost forgot is to include a standard library. Standard library, that's stdio, standard input output header. So this is now called inside here. So now what we need to include is the function that is defined inside that's going to be inside our file that will contain the formulas for calculating or for determining if the number is a positive or a negative one. Underscore negative. So void positive or negative, which is an integer type of I according to the exercise. So that's already called finished. Now we can save this file, escape and save this file, enter. So a main.h file has been created. Now we need to create a file that's going to contain the formulas that actually the program will follow to execute to give us the results, right? So that's the next thing that we need to create. And That file is here defined already from the exercise itself. It tells us what the file is about. The file name is already here at the bottom. We're supposed to create a zero dash, so still I'll call vi zero dash main dot c file, C, which is an extension for C programming. So that's already called in there. So now let's insert in. So here what we are calling is, we're not calling standard libraries, we are instead calling the main.h, which is the header, which is the library now containing instructions from the standard library to perform the executions of the formulas that we're going to write. So here we have main, we call it using double quotation marks. So now we have called the main.h function. So here after that we need to define what our comment that's going to give a description of what the program is about. So here we have the main, we give it the activity that we're performing, or the exercise that we're performing. So it tests function that prints if integer is positive or negative. Without this, we have a lady called Betty. Betty is an annoying character. Man, Betty can make you sleep less in the whole night if you do not put this. So I don't think anyone wants to be arguing with Betty the whole night. And she doesn't care, so be careful about her. I'm not meaning that all Bettys are like that, so I'm sure some people are beginning to hate people called Bettys just because of this program. Please, oh, Bettys are very sweet people. Don't hate them. So int main. So now here we're setting this to void because we have no arguments we're passing inside. Now we're just going to pass in functions. Oh, sorry about that. Now the other thing you must be careful with is Betty. I told you indentation can become an issue for you. You will fail to sleep because of Betty. Betty is very sensitive when it comes to this. So now here we've defined our variable. Our variable is of a type integer, which is I. Usually leave a space after declaring. Then set. Now here, in the exercise, it's showing you that you're supposed to set it to 90. But since you're determining whether the numbers are positive or negative, it's better just set it to a 0, and then let the program determine it by itself. Yeah. So what is 0? If I is equal to, is set to 0, not equal doesn't mean that it's equivalent to. If it's initially set to 0, then let the function perform its activity. Positive underscore or negative, and then give it the I value. So this is the function. So let it perform the calculations and whatever and determine the output. Then give it a return value. Give it a return value of 0. Okay, so this is perfect for Betty. The only indentation you see here is I created this gap after declaration, and this is another declaration. So here when you're writing the function, you create spaces. Betty accepts this. But after writing functions and here below, you're not supposed to